So if you're thrown out, you can come back.
So I guess we can get started, Amma. I guess we can get started.
Yes, we can, Doctor.
All right. Thank you for feedback. Last week, we looked at praise and encouragement. And today, we're moving on and we'll be looking at children's socio-emotional health needs. Children's socio-emotional health needs. And under that, I want us to focus today on conducive social environment. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Doctor, you can hear you.
All right.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you for feedback. So, conducive social environments. And I know the question in your mind is, what is a conducive social environment? This refers to an environment that enables the maintenance of health, such as freedom from stress, such as an atmosphere of love, an atmosphere of affection, an atmosphere of patience, an atmosphere of attention, as well as security and stability. All these will ensure our good mental health. We will focus more on children, not on us. So children feel secure when their family members are predictable. You know, you come from a family, I come from one, and you know there are members in that family that are not predictable. You don't know what makes them happy, what makes them sad. You don't know when they're gonna be drunk or high with some drug. So they're not predictable. Today someone tells you, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. And then the next day, they will ask you, who? Me told you that? Are you dreaming? So children feel secure when their family members are predictable. They also feel secure and happy when they see members of their family treating each other with love and kindness. That is a gift for them. It makes them happy and it makes them secure, and they become mentally healthy just by observing that happening in their families. Now transfer that to schools. It's the same thing. The deep and satisfying bond between a child and a parent, and the parent here, the bond between a parent and a child here is more stronger. So when we talk about the parent, we refer to the mother. That is where the bond is stronger when children are young. So that bond between them encourages feelings of security, feelings of safety, and in case of separation between the mother, the child, now here we say the parent, the main parent here is the mother because that's where the bond is strong when babies are younger. In case of separation, there is distress and there are feelings of insecurity. And this is a sign of anxiety and distress for the children, and hence bad mental health or poor mental health. Now, there are signs that you can look at and tell that a child has got anxiety and distress. Some of these signs include nervous mannerisms. The child is not settled. The child is nervous. So nervous mannerisms. Another sign, shyness. Another sign, withdrawal. And another sign, aggressive behavior. So when you see these, nervous mannerisms or nervous behavior, shyness, withdrawal, and we've also mentioned aggressive behavior. So when you see this, just know that this child is actually going through anxiety and distress, and that tells you there is separation between the child and the parent. And here we've said the parent here is the mother. Sometimes there are fathers who are very close to their children than their mothers. That will be a special case. So we can just maintain it, the bond between the child and the parents. Now, a change in normal eating and a change in normal sleeping pattern, anxiety, as well as unwillingness to go to school may also signal unhealthy fear. So when you observe those in a child, again, understand that there is something wrong somewhere that needs to be rectified, that calls for your attention, that you need to be keen upon so that you can alleviate it. So when you see a child who sleeps well, wakes up at night to scream, wakes up and sits in bed, does not want to sleep again, that's a warning call. Okay? All right. Now, during such moments, those ones now, where the child is going through distress and expressing these behaviors that I've just mentioned, parents and caregivers need to be kind. This is not the time to punish. This is not the time for timeouts. This is not time for pain or whatever punishment you might wish to give the child. This is the time that you need to love the child. So be kind, be loving, whether you are the parent or the teacher or the caregiver. Be patient, be reassuring, and avoid being critical and sometimes being overly critical. If it's too much, you can say, this is too much now. What is it? But then avoid being overly critical, because the fear may be very real to the child. The fear that is making the child behave that way might be very real. So if you don't understand, then you drive this child more crazy than they are. But if you become loving, assuring, and patient, when you're kind, you can help them actually even to open up and speak whatever it is that they are going through. If regular worry, you know where you worry regularly now. If regular worry or anxiety, repeated refusal to go to school, even after you've tried being nice and kind and talking to them, or taking part in normal children's activities continues, hyperactivity continues, fidgeting continues, persistent nightmares continue, persistent disobedience to whatever you're telling them continues, when aggression continues, after you're kind, patient, loving. If frequent temper tantrums keep occurring, if depression does not stop and it continues, and sadness does not stop and continues, or irritability continues, it does not stop, then there may be need for professional assistance or evaluation. But before you jump into taking this challenge for professional assistance and checkup, first do your part, okay? Do your part, and then the child should be in a position to improve. I want to tell you something about asking to be let in. The other time I said, if you use your student email, you just enter class without knocking. So consider not using your personal email so that you just come and enter class. Okay? You keep asking to be let in because you are using your personal emails. KU does not recognize your personal emails. If you come with your student email, you'll enter the class without saying, I'm waiting outside, open for me. And I told you this again last time. So I'll stop allowing people in so that you go activate your emails and then you can use them to join class. It's disturbing teaching and learning because now I have to keep checking who is coming in to admit them. Because the portal does not recognize you, you are coming as a civilian. So use your email address and enter class without bothering me or the other people in class. I hope that one is clear. Next time people will not come knocking, they will just use their emails, student emails. So and so at KU, student at ku.ac.ke, that one. That one you won't knock to any class, you just enter because it knows you. You're part of KU. But if you come with your personal emails, nobody knows you. You have to be vetted to be allowed in class. That means I also have a right not to admit you because I can say, I'm not sure this one is a student. After all, you're not registered. I can say, I don't know. They're not students. They're just coming with, they're civilians out there. So come with your student email. Your stress issue.
Doctor, excuse.
Yes, Eunice.
I'm asking what you are meaning is that we use our KU email when entering this online class.
Yes, you will enter class without knocking because you don't need to be waiting outside to be vetted or verified. So if you use your email, I just find you in class. Even if I come late, I'll find you people in class. Okay? Okay. All right. So we continue. Factors that may predispose a child to emotional disorders include poverty, parental stress, and depression. You see, now this is what I mean. People keep disrupting you where because they're late. They're supposed to have come early. But also, whether if you use your student email, whether you're early or late, you just come entering class without. If I don't see you, you will wait outside for 2 hours and you'll be making noise outside class. Factors that predispose a child to emotional disorders is what we've mentioned, and I said those ones will include poverty, parental stress, ile mnapigana nyumbani hapo. There is no money, there is no food, there are no clothes, there are no shoes, there is this, there is the other, so and so is sick, there is this one, there is, this and that. That parental stress or family stress will also give the child mental disorders, emotional disorders, and even depression. It will also expose children to trauma. Yeah, trauma can be because of violence, maybe mnapigana na kuni, mtoto anagongwa jicho, ndio hiyo inaenda, ama mguu inavunjika akisaidia, ama anavunjwa mkono akijaribu kusaidia mama vita ama baba, you know. So violence, abuse, and abuse can be physical or verbal. Even neglect, where you don't care, mtoto ameoga, amekula, amepata ndawa akiwa mgonjwa, anakaa vipi. If you don't care, again, this will also expose them to emotional disorders. So when you see these behaviors, remember there are a number of things you as the adult, you're supposed to capture in your thinking to be able to help this child, and you have to figure out exactly which of these things. So if you find it's not what you thought, number one, then go to what you're thinking number two, and what you're thinking number three as the need be. But make sure the child has been assisted, and do not say, oh, it's not my child, it's none of my business. Tomorrow you want your grandchildren and your children to grow up in an environment that is safe and secure. Family disruptions, and because of that, safety and security for your children, grandchildren, and for you in your own age, you have to mind everybody's business. Every child's business will be your concern number one. Okay. Family disruptions, that's what I said, such as separation, divorce, and fighting, can be frustrating and stressful to children. So infants and young children with depressed mothers might require assistance because they're experiencing problems that are never ending, and activity levels that are increasing, their stress levels keep going up. Someone is fussy, someone is not talking to the child, someone has difficulty, the child develops problems in achieving the age-appropriate developmental and cognitive milestones because of what they are going through. And someone might think this child is stupid, where the child is actually not stupid, the child is going through much. Children exposed to trauma can experience learning difficulties. Yes, their grades can drop to zero because of the family stresses they are going through. It can also drop because of chronic health problems if they have problems that are affecting their health. If they are not well, their grades again will come down because the effort will not be in learning, it will be in the pain they are feeling. Behavior problems will also affect how children learn, and that's why a conducive social environment is good for us, because what happens around the child will interfere with the child's emotions. So most of the behavioral problems you see in children are as a result of the environment. Something has happened to them, that's why they are the way they are. Even you are the way you are because of some things that have happened to you, whether you're good or bad. The experiences that you've carried along, they have shaped you to be in that particular, to be in that the way you are, that particular way. There is something behind the behavior we see. Poor social and emotional competence that now they will develop as a result of these problems from the environment that are lowering their grades will also make them to have poor social and emotional competence, where they do not know what is right, what is wrong. Because every other time they don't even know what is right. They always know, Fujodio or fight is the solution. This is what I've grown up seeing. This is it. In fact, research shows that early exposure to traumatic events has a negative impact to a child's brain that is developing. Now, having said this, if you've gone online so far, you can confirm that on the activity that I've given you, I have given some links to you, and I want you to go through some of them. Now, let me see if I can present my screen to you so that you, what was that? Start presenting, okay. Start now. This is our turn. And I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, it is
Can you
visible.
see it?
Yes.
Yes, yes, doctor.
You forget natural exactly in our first exact planet.
It's not.
Man, when I look at that kid, it's hard to believe that was actually me. I definitely struggled through that. I was so angry.
Observe that child and listen to the content. Let me rewind. Okay, the Colgate thing is an advert.
Man, when I look at that kid, it's hard.
I hope you can hear, because when I present the voice. Do we have voice problem? Oh, the voice is okay. I went to confirm whether you could hear me. Let me go back to your screen.
I definitely struggled through that time. I was so angry, felt so alone. So hard to make friends. But to tell you the truth, it probably wasn't much fun to be around. I definitely found schoolwork so much harder than most people. Every year I struggled, and it just felt like it was harder and harder to keep up. And there were people, they tried to reach out to me. I wasn't very nice to them. I just lost control. I just felt so isolated. Yeah, things started to change when I hit year 5. You know, my teacher, she just made such a difference. I knew she liked me, even though she pulled me up when I did something wrong. She was always helpful with me and smiling and showed interest in me. She definitely noticed that I needed something. So, my teacher ended up calling my parents. She was put in a counsellor who really listened and got my parents and the teacher to understand what was going on with me. Yeah, I don't know what would have happened if my teacher stepped in when she did. The counsellor was cool. She gave my parents advice on how to help me and spend more time with me and things like that. She was also just a massive help for me too. I was calmer, and hey, I even made some friends. She gave me some ideas on choices, and it worked. It was was such a battle up to that point. Things they could have turned out very differently because of my teacher. What changed things was someone noticing and taking that extra step to find the right help for me.
All right. That is the
Fast and affordable rides at the tap of a button. Bolt, the smartest way to move.
that is the end to that video. I'm sure you've learned something about the teacher that took time with that kid. Have you? Okay. I'm taking you to another link still that I want you to watch. So we are talking about the social environment. So you with the teacher and the child, because we said our emotions are affected by others. You've seen how the teacher affected that emotion. Now I want you to understand what is social environment. I've said verbally before the videos. Okay? There we go.
The social environment, social context, socio-cultural context or milieu refers to the immediate physical and social setting in which people live or in which something happens or develops. It includes the culture that the individual was educated or lives in, and the people and institutions with whom they interact. The interaction may be in person or through communication media, even anonymous or one-way, and may not imply a quality of social status. Therefore, the social environment is a broader concept than that of social class or social circle. People with the same social solidarity, they often tend to congregate in social groups. They will often think in similar styles and patterns even when their conclusions differ. In order to enrich their lives, people have used natural resources and in the process have brought about many changes in the natural environment. Farmlands, dams and many other things have all developed for this. Are included in our cultural environment, Irving Goffman in particular stressing the deeply social nature of the individual environment. Circa right. Mills contrasted the immediate milieu of Jobs' family neighborhood with the wider formation of the social structure, highlighting in particular a distinction between the personal troubles of milieu and the public crises of social structure. Emil Durkheim took a wider view of the social environment, milieu social, arguing that it contained internalized norms and representations of social forces, social facts. Our whole social environment seems to be filled with forces which really exist only in our own minds, collective representations. Phenomenologists contrast two alternative visions of society, as a deterministic constraint, milieu, and as a nurturing shell, ambience. Max Scheler distinguishes between milieu as an experienced value world, and the objective social environment on which we draw to create the former, noting that the social environment can either foster or restrain our creation of a personal milieu. Pierre-Janet Sonner also says in part a product of the identified patient's social environment, family, social network, work, etc., and considered that in some instances what he called social surgery, to create more space in that environment, would be a beneficial measure. Similar ideas have since been taken up in community psychiatry and family therapy.
Okay. And Now, the last link that I have for you to watch in this class. So then again, you follow. I hope you're still able to watch.
Yes, Doctor, we are able.
Okay.
Hi, so in this video we're going to see about social environment. So this is healthy and business environment. So under this social environment, we're going to discuss the following topics. So we're going to see about the meaning of social environment, the various components, and we're going to see about the role of family, the concept of social stratification, the meaning of cultural environment, the effects of foreign culture and community consciousness, and finally we're going to dive into the corporate social responsibility. So, moving on to the first topic, which is the meaning of social environment. What is social environment? So, social environment encompasses various components. The various components are the role of family, cultural aspects, and community groups. Generally, social environment or of the nature which are beyond the control of the company, but they still influence business decisions. The social environment plays a role of family. So, what is a family? A family is the basic unit of the society. Too many families create a society. Yes, so a family is nothing but there is a together in the same house. So generally there are three types of families. One is the nuclear family, other one is extended family, other one is single parent family. So the first one, nuclear family, is where you have the father, mother, and the children living together in the same house. Extended family is nothing but joint family, wherein you have various generations, several generations, like grandparents, parents, children, they live together in the same house. And single parent family is wherein you have either of the parent or the mother who live with their children. So this is what is the role of family. So what is the role of family in business? So generally, family structure, they influence the purchasing decision. If it is a nuclear family or a single parent family, the elder would be either the father or the mother. So their purchasing decisions is based on the head of the family. Wherein under joint family system, it would be like the elder person who would take the purchasing decision. So these have an impact on the businesses. So this is how the family have a role, a family structure have a significance on changing business decisions. So the next concept which we are going to see about is social stratification. So a family is a basic unit of a society. So more number of families they create a society. So classification of families into groups. Ranking of families would happen. Okay, ranking of social groups is like very common in India. This ranking or this classification or social stratification is of very common in any society for that matter. In ancient India, the same stratification is based on occupation. So we had four types of classification of groups. One is the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaisyas, and Sudras. But in modern India, the same stratification has changed on the basis of the income of people. Say, for example, upper class, middle class, working class, and lower class. So have significance on business decisions. These social stratification determines the lifestyle of people, determines the prestige of people. Thus, that has an impact on the indirectly it's going to influence the business decisions. So the next concept which we are so before moving on, what is a cultural environment? We should know what is a culture. A culture is nothing but its custom, knowledge, belief, values, attitudes, ideas, languages of people in a society. So when I talk about cultural environment or culture, culture is a habit which is learned socially, which is shared among people, which is transmitted from generation to generation. Culture is a knowledge, culture is a belief, culture is a perception of people on a particular object. It's a value. Culture is an emotional feeling of the people on what is right, what is wrong, what is moral and what is immoral. Culture also encompasses language because each language has its own unique phonetics and heritage. So how this cultural environment can influence business? Cultural environment influences the products to be manufactured. Cultural environment influences the marketing strategy to be adopted in a society by the business. And the culture actually influences the type of management that is made by the business. So this is the importance of culture in business environment. So we are in a globalization era where there are new terminologies that have been evolved in cultural aspect. The three main terminologies are cultural adaptation, cultural shock, and cultural lag. So what is cultural adaptation? So the process of adjusting into a new culture is cultural adaptation. So if a person feels comfortable in adapting to a new culture, so then that's called as cultural adaptation. Cultural shock is an opposite to cultural adaptation. If a person is not comfortable to change his culture, if a person is not comfortable or if he is in a sense of depression, when changing his culture, when he is in a foreign country or a foreign society, this is called as cultural shock. There is one more terminology which is so important from academic point of view as well, which is cultural lag. So what is cultural lag? Cultural lag is nothing but the slowness in culture in relation to that of technological advancement. Social problems. So to understand better of what is cultural lag, let's have an example. So we had this video games on children. So the usage of video games for the children have started in the late 1980s. But the culture to have a realization that there is a negative impact on over usage of video games by the children. So that by the time the culture realized that there is a negative impact of over usage of video games, there has been a rapid growth of technological advancement, which has led to a social problem that is stunted growth of children. So this is what the cultural lag is all about. Now let's move on to the next concept, which is impact of foreign culture on business. So generally, Indian culture is considered as Eastern culture. Eastern culture are characterized by traditionality, socialistic, and closed culture. So let's move on to what is the influence of Western culture on Eastern culture. What is the impact of Western culture on Indian businesses? So there are six main impacts of Western culture on Indian business. The first one is material orientation. Earlier, it was like Indian business is very value oriented, but now we could have seen various MNCs, multinational companies, corporations starting them.
They're talking about the Indian culture, but remember, social environment applies to everyone.
Stands as a symbol.
So the mwalimu here is an Indian, so learn about Indian culture, but culture is replicated everywhere.
For material orientation, which is profit motive and wealth maximization. Second main impact of Western culture on Indian business is urbanization. So urbanization is rapid. There is migration of village people to cities for work. Okay, so earlier it was like more of villages, but now we could see more of urbanization happening.
there is more of relations coming into cities and India. This is one of the influence of Western culture. What private sector acquisition. The fourth one is the technology and innovation. So there are various MNC companies which has brought to us with the technological advancement and which has made people adapt to innovations. And there is an impact of Western culture in family system, in marriages, relationships, and it has also changed the role of women in the society. Earlier it was like women were restricted to those household jobs, but gone are the days. But now women are into various areas. So this is how there is an impact of Western culture on Indian businesses. The next concept which we are going to see about is impact of communal groups on business. So when I talk about communal groups, the communal groups can be divided into four important groups. One is the case system. Second one is communal system. Third one is joint family system. Fourth one is religious groups. Fifth one is linguistic groups. And sixth one is social organization. So what is caste system? What is its impact on business? So say for example, a caste system defines the risk-bearing group. The caste system has an influence on profitability for business. So say for example, Mannerisms, there are more prone to new businesses, new ventures when compared to that of other castes. The next one is the communal system. When I talk about communal system, it is the community. So a particular community people form basis for the professional practice, choosing profession. Say for example, rural community, they are more prone to taking agriculture as their profession. When compared to that of urban community, where they took industries as their profession. Then comes the joint family system. So beyond the joint family system, the head of the family is called the Katra, and he would be the decision maker. And it is the joint family, the head of the family, his decision is generally influence on the business. The next one is the social organization. When I talk about the social organization,
Well, a lot of the things that the video are things that are going to affect the families and the society, and the stresses will come back to the child. But I want to stop that video from there. You have the link, you'll finish watching it. I take you back to our focus before you lose track of it. I hope I've stopped presenting. Now, I want us to, thank you for feedback. I want us to come back to another aspect of a child's emotional health need that is very, very important. You saw what the teacher did with the child on the very first, right? And on the second video. On the third video, it has given you a whole lot of things that from family to society and how the things that go on there affect the child. Now, I want us to focus on physical security now and safety. Physical security, feelings of security are strength in which they play and grow and stimulating. Whether they live in a business environment, whether they live in a village environment, institution, environment where they live will affect them. when they consistently things, and when they follow familiar routines and schedules. To ensure adequate social emotional health and development, the world in which children play and grow should be stable. I brought into your class has just told you. Now, that environment must be stable. To ensure adequate social, emotional health and development, the world that children play and grow should be stable, must be stable, consistent, must be consistent, must be friendly, and must be free from threatening as well as from harmful objects and situations. It is also important to realize that children may be emotionally stressed if the following things that I'm going to mention here, they are. I know I mentioned previously, but I'll repeat again. If there is presence of child abuse or there is domestic violence, then the physical security and safety of that child is threatened. In case of a parent or parents, even separation of a pet that they love, or even death of a family member, again, that one is a physical security and safety issue for a child. In case there is a presence of a newborn, that also causes insecurity to the child because the love they were getting won't be shared. The gifts they were getting won't be shared. The outings they were getting maybe will reduce. Now, hospitalized. And you know, if a child is unwell and is hospitalized, that child is removed from familiar places, familiar objects, familiar people, and the child goes to a new environment. This is going to affect that child. So again, that is a physical security and safety issue for the child. Exposure to familiar and unfamiliar environments, especially when they go to a daycare facility, when they go to a school from a home environment, or they move from one house to another, one estate to another. Those things, one country to another. All those are physical security and safety issues where children are concerned. When they lose a prized possession, something they value, it might be cheap. It may not even cost money. But if they love it and they're attached to it, it becomes prized possession. And if they lose it again, that will contribute to that child's feelings of security and safety being affected. Poverty as well will pose a security and safety issue for the child. And again, you know this, we can go on and on. On the socioeconomic problems, the Indian lecturer that I brought to your class talked a lot about business. When children are not financially stable, sorry, the parents, not the children. When parents are not financially stable, there is no way they are going to ensure emotional needs of the child are met. Definitely. A whole lot of things will come in, and you know what I started by telling you when we started this particular lecture today. Something else that is good for a child's emotional health is that children need to know that their parents are happy with their efforts and accomplishments in learning. When a child feels loved, when a child feels recognized, when a child feels his or her achievements are and recognized, then this child feels accomplished psychologically. And in a learning setup, you expect this child that is praised and encouraged and recognized, and rewarded, loved, to perform better than the other child that is not getting the same. So recognition of what children are doing is very, very important, and also rewarding them. Children need their parents and caregivers to show interest in their activities and be pleased with their progress. Be pleased with their achievements and be pleased with the improvements. If you told them now from number 1, I want you to go to number 18, and the child goes to number 17, number 15, or even that 18 or even 19, that's an improvement. Appreciate it. In doing so, adults should be careful also not to compare children, as each child is unique in their own way. So don't compare them and say, even though you've come to 19, the other past 20 children, well, umepita tu mmoja. Don't be quick to compare. Appreciate that achievement that the child has made and that particular improvement that the child has done. Okay? Acknowledging children's strength, belief in themselves. They start knowing, yes, I'm good in this, I'm capable of this, and this boosts their esteem, their self-esteem. Their confidence levels will go high, and this is good. Yeah? When they have a belief in themselves, this will enhance their progress, and it will be easier for them to learn. Environment that is appreciating, that is recognizing, that is noting every improvement that they make. On the contrary, lack of patience and attention may contribute to unhealthy development of children. Oh yes, if you don't recognize them, then as a teacher, as a caregiver, as a parent, you're failing. I want us to look at the next aspect of children's socio-emotional health needs. I divided it into 2. I focused on the conducive social environment. Again, for security. Psychological security. Mental security. Not now physical, mental security. Positive emotions like joy, pleasure, happiness, love, affection, humor. Is it too long? I break the recording and have it into 2 for you people. I can do that so that when you're going through the content, I will post the first one under the right place.